only thing that makes sense is if Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds sent this person into that meeting with Steve Surowitz to specifically record him. Because otherwise, why is there a recorded conversation between this person and Steve Surowitz that is now being used against the Wayfair parties? And this should also prove that Blake and Ryan were planning and plotting this lawsuit way before we even had a hint that it could be a lawsuit. We're also going to cover Colleen's new book and the ridiculous description she wrote, because what is that supposed to mean? If you've had a chance to read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. I'm overwhelmed. Let's get into it.
F around and find out. F around and find out.
Well, hello there, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm your host, Elsie, and I appreciate you for being here. You're telling me that according to this document that hit a docket tonight, because I'm recording this it is 3:10 a.m. and I have to get it done because my mind is blown. There is a recording of this conversation between this person and Steve Surowitz. Who records conversations with people if they don't have a nefarious reason attached to starting the conversation in the first place? How many of you have just walked into a conversation with somebody and it's like, oh, before we start the conversation, let me hit record in case I need it later? Unless there is a reason for you to want that, unless there's a plan for you to want that. I'm just going to cut to the chase. We're going to look on the docket and I'm going to explain, but I am overwhelmed. My flabber is ghastly gasted. I am flabbergasted by the idea that this person recorded Steve Surowitz, and now Blake and her team are trying to act like, oh, ho, 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 don't nobody else need to hear it except us. Excuse you? You've gone out of your way and quoted multiple parts of the recording, but now we can't hear the whole thing? You are here taking snippets? Let's jump to the docket, because yeah, my God on today. I am shooketh. So we heard from Ellen Garofalo last night. On behalf of Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, everybody and their mama over there, we are requesting the court to continue to seal the one portion of the memorandum of law in support of Lively's motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages. You know, the thing that somebody released that says Justin verbally abused me, so I asked him to be off that one. 2 portions of the declaration, and 3, the entirety of Exhibit 1 to the declaration. For the reasons described below, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the materials be unsealed except for the witness declarant's name and the title of the project they worked on. They're like, hey, we could keep it cute too. We could keep it pushing. We could keep some decorum. We don't care to know the person's name. But at this point, I feel like if you're Steve Surowitz and the Wayfair parties, you should already know who it is. Because if this conversation happened and they're claiming there's a recording, if you're Steve Surowitz, like, you would remember who you had this conversation around or with enough for them to be in proximity to record you. So they don't need the name, right? Like, and if for the person's privacy or whatever, they can continue for sealing on behalf of the person, but they probably know, not probably, they should know who it is, but the public might not need to know right now. But at least the public needs to hear what's in the recording, or at least a transcript of it, right? So let's hear what the Wayfair parties have to say. The materials concern an alleged recording made by the witness of a conversation with defendant Steve Surowitz without his consent. Without his consent, nonetheless. I mean, do you know how scary? Like, that is one of the scariest things to me, to feel like you're in a room where you're comfortable, you know, you're free, you can say what you want to say. You should feel free to speak. And to find out somebody recorded you, violated you, it's not like there's a camera that say, hey, smile, you're on camera. It's not like you're at the grocery store and you're on camera. It's not like you walked into a place where there's live, mics, and you have to mind your surroundings and mind what you have to say. But a person recording you like on their own device, crazy work. Plaintiff seeks to seal the audio recording in its entirety, Blake Lively, although she purported to selectively quote from it in a portion of her brief in the public unsealed version she filed with the court. Lively boldly claims she played the substance of the relevant information in the public record, flatly ignoring that the person recorded without his consent, Steve Surowitz's consent. Mr. Surowitz should be allowed to have the entire recording made public to ensure accuracy and provide context. And you know what? They should argue in this day and age with AI, you just never even know what you're hearing. You never even know what you're seeing. I literally saw a video of this girl. She was pranking her boyfriend, but the prank was like the boyfriend was cheating on her, but she literally had AI add a girl in a video with the boyfriend. It was scary, like scary. And the way things are going, I would not be surprised if they come out with an AI video of Blake and Justin on the set. Like, I would not be shocked. As previously stated by this court, the Supreme Court and the Second Circuit have long held that there is a presumption of immediate public access to judicial documents under both the common law and First Amendment. Where the presumption of public access is at its strongest, as it is here with the respect of materials, the presumption only can be overcome by countervailing considerations in extraordinary circumstances. So a third-party witness name may be redacted to protect their identity prior to trial. The redactions plaintiff requests are not narrowly tailored to serve the interest of protecting the personal information of non-party. With respect to the brief, plaintiff seeks to seal two portions on page 5. 1, the name of the declarant at the top of the page, and 2, a description of how Exhibit 1 was produced in footnote 9. The waiver parties have no objection to the first requested redaction, but as no explanation was provided for sealing the last sentence in footnote 9, that sentence must be unsealed. Because why is that cut? Like, why was that cut out? You know, the sentence from the first declaration. Plaintiff already disclosed that she produced Exhibit 1. Further, she publicly disclosed the document was on audio tape by citing to time markers, typically used when referencing an audio recording. And I feel like that was a mistake by Blake. I don't think she and her team realized that they hadn't previously told anybody it was an audio recording. So when they brought that up, it tipped the waiver parties to an idea that, oh, there is a recording of this, right? Regarding the declaration, plaintiff seeks to seal information regarding the timing of the meeting and the context of the conversation recorded without Mr. Surwitz's consent. Other than the witness's name and the name of the project the declarant worked on, none of the information reveals identity. Plaintiff improperly seeks to hide any context for the alleged verbal abuse, why the meeting with Mr. Surwitz took place, when it took place, and what allegedly happened after the conversation. Finally, plaintiff does not provide any explanation why Exhibit 1 to the declarant must be sealed other than it would invite additional media coverage. They're saying, girl, the fact that you don't want the press to be on your ass about this is not a good enough reason to keep it sealed. The public has a right to hear this bombshell audio that apparently you have, which again, we're gonna be disappointed when we hear it because we know it's not that big of a bombshell because Blake would have jumped on this and blasted it on the radio waves 9 months ago. 9 months ago. So if they're cherry picking and picking something they think sounds bad, it's probably gonna be like, well, we got 44 pages of text messages and it turned out to be a snooze fest, quite literally, of a bunch of grown men trying to figure out how to download a PDF. However, it is well settled that generalized concerns of adverse publicity and reputational injury are insufficient to justify sealing records. Clock it, Ellen, clock it. They cite some case law to prove that the court generally rejects negative publicity as a basis for overcoming the strong presumption of public access to the allegedly prejudicial items. Importantly, Lively herself is responsible for the substantial media coverage resulting from her decision to include alleged quotations from Exhibit 1, audio recording of Mr. Surwitz. I love that they're calling it an audio recording. Don't let them get away from it. Certainly, any privacy interest belongs to Mr. Surwitz. He's the one that was recorded without his consent. If anybody should be worried about privacy, if anybody should be scared about this being unsealed, it should be him. But he's saying, you know what? Blow it up. Literally blow the whole thing up. The person who was recorded without his consent, he should be permitted to have the public hear the entire audio and not be confined solely to Lively's flawed and out of context purported transcripts of the audio recording. Is this a man that has something to worry about, or is this a woman that is trying to cherry pick? I'll let you be the judge of that. So we're going to recap. But before we do that, if you've made it this far, I want you to put in the comments for me, like, how violated, because I feel like I feel very, very strong about this. I feel very, very strongly about this. Somebody recording a conversation between me and them that I have no idea I'm being recorded, that's violating. I'm talking about you think me and you are, say, on the phone, on FaceTime, or we're standing there in person, and the whole time my phone is on record. And I'm recording everything we're saying, and you don't know, like, you're exposed out here. And for it to turn around and be used in a lawsuit, and you don't even know, the level of pissed off I will be cannot be stated. It cannot be stated. How do you guys feel about this? Like, are you like on the side of, well, as long as you don't say whatever? I could be talking about how challah bread is the best bread for French toast and not brioche bread, which is a fact, by the way. If you're using brioche bread for your French toast, that's where your mistake is. You need to be using challah bread. It has the depth, it has the girth. But I digress. And after that, I'm choosing violence. Like if you record me without my consent, I'm choosing violence. But I digress. So back to the recap. Blake's team wants to keep everything under wraps. Justin's team, Steve Surowitz, is like, actually, finding out I was recorded, I should be the only one with any power about whether to keep this under wraps or not. I'm the one on the recording. And I'm puffing my chest. I'm saying, release it. Let the world hear what's on there. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. Let it come out. I don't care to know the person's name. We can cover that up. If you need to protect that person's identity so badly, go ahead. Whatever project that person worked on, let's close it. Let's cover that up. But wherever I spoke, wherever they spoke, whatever conversation came up, I want the world to hear it and I want the world to make their own judgments based on that. That's going to eat them up. I'm sorry. But if you're Blake and your husband, you're sitting at home like, what the fuck? You're looking at your lawyers like, who slipped up on a docket and made it known that there's a recording of this, because it was definitely a slip up. We've gone 9 months and heard about this Hamas conversation or whatever, and I'm going to spend $100 million to take your head off. And nobody ever mentioned that there was a recording of this. So it was definitely a slip up. And I know damn well they wish they could take it back. Bottom line, if you're going to use a recording with my name in there, with my voice on there, don't you tell me what the world can hear or not. I'm ready and willing for the world to hear my truth and for the world to hear your truth. So get on that. With that said, I wait for Judge Lyman to come back and somehow make it okay for Blake to do this, because at this point, I don't expect shit from that man. Okay, this is me. Whenever something has to go in front of him for a decision, I go to sleep with no expectations, and that way I'm not disappointed. Because the minute you think he's going to do the right thing, he disappoints us. So this should be cut straight and forward. There should be no mess, no fuss. But knowing Judge Lyman, he's about to find a reason why this is not a good enough reason to release it. But before I let you guys go, I know we all heard about Colleen's new book, but did you have a chance to read the description for the book? I know I gave you guys a little synopsis the other day, but like the description of the book is more than eerie and more than, what the hell are you doing, Colleen? Let's get into that very quickly because I couldn't let this go by another day. Her words used to set the page on fire, but a viral backlash over her latest film adaptation. Let's stop right there. A viral backlash over her latest film adaptation? Already, I don't care what the rest of the thing says. Already, I'm associating with Blake. It doesn't have to be. You could even associate it with Colleen herself, because we're calling it a writer. So we could say Colleen is receiving backlash from her last book, It Ends With Us, which was an adaptation for the film. So it's almost like Colleen and Blake are like being surrogates for each other, like they're interchangeable. And then the character's name is Petra. I'm sorry, but if you watched Jane the Virgin, Petra Solano, Rafael Solano's first wife, you might as well have named the character Jane Gloriana Villanueva. Branded a fraud and fame-hungry opportunist. That tracks. People have called Colleen a fraud. We've said her books don't be lining up with the story she be telling. We've called Blake a fraud. Fame-hungry for sure. Whatever hungry she is, trying to be somebody she's not. Then we're back to Colleen is a surrogate for Blake. Blake is a surrogate for Colleen. They're interchangeable again. She learned the hard way what happens when internet turns on you. Excuse me? And she's been uninspired to write ever since. Then she takes you away from it again. What are we doing here? Now, with her next suspense novel outlined and savings nearly gone, she retreats to a secluded lakeside cabin, hoping to find inspiration. It's Petra's last-ditch attempt to save her career and herself. Again, you could pull things here that mean something to this case, but then don't. Write this, but like, you cannot tell me that you don't see anything about this that connects to this case at all. Like, there are similarities and connections left and right. The book doesn't have to be about Blake or even Colleen about this case. But if you're telling me this is their marketing strategy at the very least, okay. He shows up, detective, blah, 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 blah. I'm not even going to do it any further. Let me know what you guys think, if you feel as strongly as I feel about it. Because, and even I went ahead as far as to say, if you look at the cover art, the woman in the back doesn't look like Blake, right? Blake has Blake's essence to a degree. Doesn't look like Blake, but could be. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not so far off. It's what I'm trying to say. And Woman Down as a title is interesting. still kind of stayed within the same color scheme for It Ends With Us. Again, it's a marketing strategy. The book doesn't come out till January. Here we are. I don't know typically how far out people start advertising their books and marketing their books. But if you're telling me this is not a strategy to sell more books, even if out of, say, 1,000 people buy the books, probably more will. I'm just making an example here. There are at least 100 people who are going to buy the book because they think it's going to be about this. The numbers are not going to lie. That's going to be a reason people buy this book. There is no way this book has been in the works for a while. It could have been as the original premise, but throwing in the character's name, the title, the little nugget here and there, her viral backlash or whatever, she definitely came up with that as early as 9 months ago. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your continued support. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment because I want to hear your thoughts on all things I just said. I appreciate you for being here once again. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye.